I listen to Meidas Touch, which is a pro-democracy YouTube and social media podcast with Ben Meiselas, his brothers. He is a lawyer, and he's a great newscaster, and usually has really valid opinions. But today I have to take him on. And this is really a prime example of how the liberal mainstream media, and I guess even some of the non-corporate media like Meidas Touch, are getting it wrong with MAHA. And I really think this is important. Today, Trump and Kennedy Jr. held a press conference linking Tylenol with autism. And this is a really interesting case that we're talking about. I did some research on Tylenol and autism. Tylenol is the trade name for a drug called acetaminophen, which the president can hardly pronounce. And acetaminophen is given to pregnant women as the safest pain medication. And it's given routinely and no one thinks about it. But if you do comb the medical literature, as I have, there are a lot of studies linking use of Tylenol type drugs, that is ones with acetaminophen during pregnancy, with neurodevelopmental disorders in newborns. And these disorders can include ADHD, or attention deficit hyperactivity disorder, and autism spectrum disorder. Now, I've looked at the studies. There are a lot of studies, as I said, that make this link, and these are peer-reviewed studies. These are very good quality pieces of work. There are a few studies, too, that don't find the link. When I come into a situation like this, I want people to know the truth. And when someone like Ben Meiselas says the Tylenol is completely safe to be used during pregnancy, and other doctors are saying that too. Meiselas is a lawyer, attorney. And doctors are saying this too, and it's just not right. As a parent of 3 kids, I've always been concerned about vaccines. My kids are vaccinated, but I've researched it to make sure that what we do is safe. And I can't tell you not to take Tylenol or to take it because the evidence is conflicting. I would recommend considering not using it during your pregnancy. It doesn't mean that every unborn child is going to get autism if you take Tylenol. There are probably other things going on like genetic susceptibilities, and there may be other environmental factors. But the fact is that Tylenol and acetaminophen are associated with autism increased risk. That doesn't mean cause and effect. And doctors are saying, well, we haven't proven the cause yet. Often we don't get a direct cause and effect because to find cause and effect takes a lot of work using multiple models, from zebrafish to rodents to test tube studies, all sorts of different ways of looking at the situation. But I would tell parents right now, be really careful about using Tylenol. And you may want to forego it if the pain isn't life-threatening and so discomfortable. Now, you're not going to get that from the mainstream media because they're going to tell everyone who's MAHA, hey, you're stupid if you think Tylenol causes autism. Just not true. Now, I'm not a big fan of Trump. In fact, I think he's the worst thing to come to this country, period. He gives me a headache. But I'm not against MAHA because I think the folks who are MAHA are really looking for ways to improve their health and the nation's health. I do think that RFK Jr. and Trump are terrible messengers. I wish there were better ones. But again, I just want to say the mainstream media is telling MAHA folks, you don't know what you're talking about when you link Tylenol, acetaminophen with autism. Just not true. There are many studies that show that association. There are some studies that don't. It's going to take more time and more research. Meanwhile, I want to make this point too. Trump has cut off funding to the NIH and all sorts of research organizations. These are the groups that found that link. So Trump, on the one hand, is anti-science, and yet he's using all the science that other administrations have funded to make his statement. So the guy's an idiot, okay? But on this thing about autism and Tylenol, yeah, be careful. You may want to consider not taking it. If you want to know more tips about raising healthy kids, get my new book, Raising Healthy Kids, Protecting Your Children from Hidden Chemical Toxins. You can get it at Amazon.com or by using the link in this post.